Serums irradiated. This better work.
It will.
Oh, yeah?
You want to bet on it?
Well, I think that there are a lot of scenes that I think are very interesting. There's the three transformations. The transformation of the gorilla, Sebastian become invisible, and Sebastian tried to come back to visibility with Phil. These three scenes are absolutely marvelous, I think.
When I read it, I said, I know this can be done. I know we can do it. I have no idea how we're going to do it.
I actually thought it couldn't be done.
You don't make history by following the rules. You make it by seizing the moment.
I've seen individual layers be worked on, but I've never actually seen a whole human.
I don't think anybody has done this. They built the body like a really mechanical thing. All the tendons and all the muscles are really perfectly attached here and there. So when you move your arms like this, you would see all this swelling, and you would see everything inside rotating, not only the outside, but even if you would look inside, you would see the bones rotating. And if you move the fingers, that's all completely, looks completely real.
I'm starting to feel something.
The live-action character that's in the shot will be used for different purposes depending on the different type of shot. In a case where part of him is transforming away, we'll use a lot of the original Kevin in the plate. And what we'll do is add in patches of areas onto that character. In the cases where he's gone beyond the point where we see skin, we'll do away with him completely and put in a fully synthetic model in there.
So one of the many challenges on the Hollow Man were the challenge of getting a computer puppet to look like an anatomically correct human being.
The first thing we had to do in creating our digital version of Kevin Bacon was to do a cyber scan. Basically, this is a laser scan set of data to get his exterior skin.
Literally scanning his whole body into the computer, toenail to top of his head. But then it became the whole study of his physiology.
Normally in most computer graphics films, you just look at the exterior skin. But for this particular film, we had to create all of the internal organs as well. Creating that internal musculature set, that internal anatomy, is something that really hasn't been done before, and especially to this degree. First thing we wound up doing was taking a lot of video and photo references. Basically, we wound up gridding him into putting markers all over his body that told us exactly how his various joints and body anatomy changed as he moved.
We made him do calisthenics, made him stand on his toes, lift his arms so that we could begin to study where his muscles attached in what area on his body. We measured each joint.
If we take any shortcuts, if we are not correct in our measurements, we're not going to get a proper lineup. We have to have the capability of making our Kevin move exactly like the real Kevin. So what I'm doing here is what we call a process of retrofit. We've done a cyber scan, then taken our generic human skeleton, and I'm trying to place the bones within his body where they really would be.
They went to a full anatomical course, so they know exactly what happens when you take the real skin and pull the skin backwards, and how liquid this is, and how wet it is, and how much fat there is. That you can, of course, study better with a real dead body.
It reminds you of a piece of meat you've seen or eaten. To get our meaty look of the muscles, we needed to have the right speck hits and the right glints on the muscles in the right place to really sell it as wet and having many, many different layers. Then after we did that and sort of made it as anatomically correct as possible, then our modelers went in and actually cheated it a little bit more because we looked at the muscles with the skin off. We don't have a lot of the fat represented here, and that actually fills out a lot of the face. And so the modelers actually expanded out the muscles in that area to fill in and make it look more like the outer surface of the skin.
And we had another team that went along and did the animator controls and figured out exactly how to get animator to move the basic skeletal portion.
The human anatomy has very defined limitations to it. As an animator, you find it very frustrating. You just want to push an action a little more, and you can't do it.
You have to be so precise and with all these little details, because it's all mathematical formulas. And if you make a mistake, then the nose is suddenly here, or the nose is upside down, or whatever.
Another thing that really just made it so difficult for us is the actual amount of data and amount of geometry that we had to push through our system. We had to buy better and faster computers to be able to handle it. And even then, we actually couldn't load our whole model in at once.
We pushed it to the limit. Wherever we could do something, if it was the right thing for the story, we did it.
I have never seen anything so beautifully digitalized. It's really, it goes beyond what anybody has done. It's probably 100 times more complex than a dinosaur. Nearly beyond what could be done. But I think we do it.